howdy, and welcome all to the Big and Bright Podcast. My name is Nick. This here next to me is James.
Howdy.
We're back, baby. We're going back to session.
Woo!
Awesome. We're having a great time here on the Big and Bright Podcast because enough Democrats have returned to where we can actually resume legislating.
Finally.
Which turns out is their job. Turns out that's why we voted for them, right? I just think it's... We recently acquired a document from one of the Texas state representatives, and it says all of the things that they got accomplished. And I really want to write them back and be like, yeah, what are you accomplishing right now? Oh, nothing.
This list seems a little long when nothing actually got passed.
Nothing happened.
It should be a blank page, like what we got accomplished. We yelled a lot.
But we're getting stuff done now. We're going to get to that, but first, great tragedy has struck, friends. A great tragedy across this great state of Texas. If only we had foreseen it. What happened, James?
Sad story. Abbott gets Rona.
Abbott has the snifflies.
Yes, he does.
Abbott has the Rona.
Despite being vaccinated, Nick.
Despite being vaccinated. So you're saying breakthrough cases are occurring, especially with Delta variant. So
The India variant, but yeah.
The India variant. So here's the thing. At this point with the Delta variant, I'm almost asking the India variant. I'm also asking, why are we even getting vaccinated? Now, I understand. Okay, so first of all, there is a reason to get vaccinated. For yourself, right? If you get vaccinated, your chances of being hospitalized and dying drops tremendously. I don't think there's any denying that. You can look at the numbers from the CDC. Hospitalizations and deaths plummeted after the vaccine rolled out. So
and most of the deaths that are occurring right now are people who are unvaccinated.
But if you're young and your chances of dying from coronavirus weren't high anyway, and when I say they weren't high, I mean they were less than 1%, right? They were dramatically low. So the vaccine probably isn't going to help you a ton there anyway. Well, but then you could spread it. Apparently, that's not the case either.
You can still spread it even if you're vaccinated.
You can still spread it even when you're vaccinated. So vaccines can still spread the virus, and they're not going to help you that much in terms of dying. So I'm going to go ahead and Joe Rogan this. If you're young, there's no reason to get the vaccine.
You're fine.
I think you're fine. It doesn't seem to be helping one way or another. But we've seen a breakthrough case, even though Greg Abbott publicly got vaccinated. And
on video.
Yeah, and this is another thing that people say, oh, well, DeSantis and Abbott are anti-vax. No.
Dude, vax.
No, they're not. They're both vaccinated. They're both publicly vaccinated. And Ron DeSantis had one of the most successful vaccine rollouts in the entire United States. Greg Abbott was not far behind. So the idea that the governors are anti-vax and that they're perpetuating anti-vax sentiments in the state is just not true.
Well, the way they do it is because they're against the mask. It's like, well, they're against making you wear the mask in schools.
If you're vaccinated.
Or period. Just if you're
wearing
don't wear masks in schools. We're not going to force you to. If you want to do that, fine.
Yeah. And that's another thing that people often get wrong. It's not that they say he's banning masks in schools. No. He is banning mask mandates in schools.
The force to wear the face diaper in schools.
You're not forced to wear.
Because it's mostly done to protect the teachers. Well, if you're the teacher, you get vaccinated. If you're not going to get vaccinated, that's on you.
Yeah. It was really
we can't
funny.
say that because that'd be too mean to actually make people hold their own selves responsible.
I had a friend come in from out of state, and she's talking about, I don't know how comfortable you guys are with going outside, going into the world. And she's again from out of state, and I'm just like, oh, this is Texas. We have been back.
I don't even think about it.
We've been back to real life for months.
It freaks me out when I go into a place. Everybody's masked here. They're that scared. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah, it's now weird when I walk into a place and I see a majority of people wearing masks.
Yeah, it's like aliens.
Which is good. That's how it's supposed to be. Masks are supposed to be the outlier, not the run of the mill.
But it's up to you.
Anyway, Abbott got coronavirus.
He did.
So,
according to The Hill, his doctor prescribed Generon's antibody therapy treatment, which is available, by the way.
Monoclonal antibody.
Yeah, monoclonal. Sorry.
That's the word I can see his notes in front of him, and you just skipped that word.
I don't really care.
Monoclonal antibody therapy treatment.
Yeah. Basically, what Regeneron does, and you can look this up, Regeneron's basic thing is to give you this type of, let's say if I can break it down. It's almost like getting Theraflu. You find out you have the flu, you take this, it'll reduce the effects of it, but it's not really going to stop it. And what this Regeneron does is to help your body fight back immediately against the Rona to avoid you having to go to the hospital.
Basically adding antibodies into your bloodstream.
Right. And it's a real tough shot. And you can only get it most of the time, you can only get it if you have a confirmed coronavirus positive. Abbott has expanded this. They call it antibody infusion centers across the state, again, to help out with the ICU bed problem, to help out with the hospitalizations, because apparently everything is somehow COVID related. So that's where I'm kind of getting hinky. It's like, what do you mean by COVID related? It's like, well, it happened during COVID times. Well, was it actually COVID?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, stop asking questions.
It's COVID adjacent.
Yeah. But yeah, that's according to the Hill. And so that's what he's doing. That's also available to no cost. All you have to get is a doctor's referral. Again, it's kind of like just getting a prescription. It's fine.
And for what it's worth, infusions are no joke. I mean, it's not like a shot. I mean, I've dealt a lot with infusions. I've got family that has autoimmune disorders and got infusions on a regular basis. It's a long process. I mean, it's a long therapeutic process. So it's not like he just got a shot. It's more intense than it sounds, which is why a lot of people don't do it. But it is available, and it's good if you are one of those people.
But the whole thing about
that
people getting mad at him about doing that, it's like, well, what about regular Texans? That's literally why I have these antibody centers. That's the whole point.
It's open, it's available, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you're somebody that's of high risk.
Or if you have coronavirus and you don't have the shot yet, like that's a time when you should think about getting it, because that's what it's for, to keep you from the hospital. Because as we learned, if you're unvaccinated, you're probably getting up in the hospital.
Yeah, and what it's worth, Abbott is of high risk. I mean, he's an older person. And so I'm going to push back on what you just said.
Okay.
You are not likely to end up in a hospital if you aren't vaccinated.
That's not what I saw on Twitter. It's not what I saw on CNN.
You are more so what you see on CNN and Twitter is that it is
Twitter's
more
real life.
likely if you are more likely to end up in the hospital if you are unvaccinated as opposed to vaccinated.
Right.
That does not mean that unvaccinated people are likely, right, that most people that get it, because I'm telling you right now, most unvaccinated people that get coronavirus do not end up in the hospital.
Nick, you're ruining my narrative, and I need you to stop.
You know what? That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to destroy narratives.
Fake news over here.
First and foremost, yours. Next, the fake news that's being generated.
No, your fake news.
Sorry, buddy.
Fake news.
Sorry, buddy. Facts don't lie. Data don't lie. And again, I don't want to say that I'm anti-vax, right? I just want to say put some thought into whether you're going to get vaccinated.
Have an original thought. Have one original thought.
Don't just do it because the CDC tells you to, right? You don't have to think about it, though. Right?
Get out of here.
No, you don't. Don't just do it because the CDC tells you to. Think about it, but you are less likely to end up in the hospital from the coronavirus case if you are vaccinated. That's just there's no debating that. And this whole idea of the vaccines don't work. There's no debating that either. Right, we've seen deaths and hospitalizations absolutely just dive bomb.
But what I think the problem is that the vaccine, the way it's been pushed out, because remember, the two top people in the Democratic Party, Biden and Harris, they were kind of crapping on the whole vaccine issue because, like, one, it's never going to come out as fast as Trump's going to say out. Well, that was wrong. And then, well, if he's pushing it, it's not probably that good. You probably shouldn't trust it. Well, now that's changed because all it changed was the presidency.
Yep.
So now the vaccine's totally cool. Well, it was pretty much pushed as like, well, if you get the vaccine, you're Gucci.
Yeah.
But it turns out, like, well, you should have known in the back of your head, this isn't going to stop you from getting the Rona.
Yeah.
But that's not what you told me. Come on. When is any pure vaccine so that was to absolutely stop, never chance of a breakthrough case? Even the mumps still have breakthrough cases, and everybody gets vaxxed for that when you're a kid.
And it's not going to lead to zero COVID. That's another thing. If zero COVID is
not going to happen.
That's never going to happen.
It can't happen.
The COVID V-Day, where we all hold a big parade and
we do that, then it's be a super spreader event.
We're kissing people in Times Square because we have defeated coronavirus in the same way.
Can I celebrate by licking doorknobs?
I would. That's what I'd do, right? That's a very health conscious thing to do. But that day's never coming, and you're just gonna have to accept that.
But hold on to it, though.
Here's the thing: I do not understand, and apart from the fact that he's a person in the public sphere, why does it matter that Greg Abbott has coronavirus? Because Greg Abbott is vaccinated.
Yep.
The likelihood that he ends up in the hospital or dies from coronavirus is very low because he's vaccinated.
Correct.
So why do we care? I didn't hear about the last time Greg Abbott had, a cold. I didn't hear the last time about Greg Abbott didn't feel very well. Greg Abbott is currently not in the hospital. No. He currently shows no signs of being at death's door. So why do we care? Why are we reporting on this?
Because it's a good chance to dunk on the Republican governor.
But James, that premise assumes that the media wants to dunk on Republicans all the time.
Well, if I pick out this small little quote from NPR about it, because again, a lot of people for some reason care about a simple state governor getting Rona.
Yep.
They state Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who has been fully vaccinated, has tested positive for the coronavirus. His office announced Tuesday. Abbott has opposed mask mandates, and his orders have drawn legal challenges. Oh, seems like that's what you want to talk about there. Like, okay. So it's the mask thing.
Mask mandates.
Yeah.
Mask mandates don't work. I'm going to go ahead and say it. There's no evidence
just look around all the countries. Work. Obviously, they do work because every other country has it figured out besides the United States.
That's also not true.
Oh wait.
Italy had a massive mask mandate, and that got destroyed, right?
What?
Hawaii has a mask mandate, and they're seeing...
Well, they're the U.S.
I know, but they're not really, though. But they're, I'm sorry.
There's at least a star on that flag.
Does Mazie Hirono seem American to you?
Tulsi Gabbard does.
Yeah. Is Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii?
I think so.
Yeah. No.
I believe so.
She might be. I don't know.
I can look that up on the old DuckDuckGo.
If you look on a state by state case, don't worry. That's what we have.
Hawaii's 2nd congressional district. Yeah. Right. Yeah. She's from Hawaii.
Way to go, Tulsi. Okay. If you go on a state-by-state basis or a country-by-country basis, mask mandates do not affect case rates, right? You see case rates that are very similar among states that have mask mandates and don't have mask mandates. Same thing if you go country-by-country, right? Heavy lockdown countries like places like the UK or like Italy actually seem to mirror the case transmission rates of places like Sweden that had no mask mandate and no lockdowns.
Notice we're not talking about England anymore. That was the whole India Delta variant. All of a sudden it waned. Oh, I wonder why. Oh, because it just wanes.
Because it just wanes.
Oh, look at that. Like they literally didn't do much different and just
the vaccines
and oh my
are
gosh,
what's
I'm
going
sorry.
to help, not masks.
Literally most UK countries in their science have said it makes no sense whatsoever to put masks on children. Yet when you go to America, that news is going to be blacked out. That way you can't see it because you don't care.
But this is the Herman Cain situation all over again.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
But Herman Cain, I don't think he was vaxxed.
No, he wasn't. They didn't have the vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
But Herman Cain was against public lockdowns, was against mask mandates, all that. And then he got coronavirus and he actually passed away. Mm-hmm. And Sadly. Many reporters and so many of these rubes on Twitter decided that they were going to use this opportunity to say, I'm glad he's dead because he didn't value my safety and he didn't value mask mandates and lockdowns and this is what you get.
Well, those are just fringe outward, but the main news that was reporting is kind of doing the same thing that NPR is doing right here. It's like they're not saying it blatantly, like ha ha ha. Yeah. They're saying like, but the only reason that we care about this is because look what you oppose. This is your up and coming.
I think if let's say Gretchen Whitmer gets coronavirus, you think it gets reported like this? No, I mean whoever the guy is in Louisiana.
Chris Cuomo got COVID. Said he stayed in a basement the whole time when there's actually reports,
videos of him on a bike
on a bike outside, and then he does this whole little thing coming back like I'm getting to see my family again. It's like, bro, you've already been out. We know you have. Mm-hmm. Those are just false reports. They got a picture of you. That's a false report.
Yeah,
that's not you. Oh, it doesn't look like me.
So. I don't think that this is worthwhile. I mean, as far as the public reporting on it, but there's just, obviously we want to pray for Greg Abbott. We want to pray for his safety. But
I mean, theoretically, it could be worse, but statistically, what we have right now, it's not going to be. And this is good because the vaccine worked.
Yes, that's what we learned from this. The vaccine works, and if I'm Greg Abbott, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm coming back out and I'm saying, hey guys. Great news. The vaccines are working.
He showed no symptoms. He's like, what? I have Rona? How?
Yeah.
I don't even feel different.
Yeah. And I guess, his wife who is also vaccinated.
Yeah, Cecilia Abbott.
Yeah. She
tested negative. Still tested negative.
Yeah. So transmission is also being affected.
People like to give Texas the whole racist thing. Mm-hmm. Cecilia Abbott is the first Hispanic First Lady of Texas by a Republican governor. I'm just going to throw that out there.
That's tokenism. Doesn't
fine.
matter. You're
Whatever.
just being tokenist.
But according to Texas Tribune,
it's like saying you have black friends.
Yeah. Well, if I have friends, it kind of shows I'm not racist. But
shows
whatever.
you're not racist. Yeah.
The governor has been tested daily, and today was the first positive test result when this actually happened. Mm-hmm. Why is he being tested daily? I mean, I get he's in the public all the time, so I get it. But if he has the vaccine, it doesn't really matter if he gets Rona.
I think it's a holdover. I think this is a holdover from the pre-vaccine days, right? Because it made sense for public officials to get tested daily in the pre-vaccine days.
Yeah.
Because
I get it because we didn't have a vaccine.
You didn't have a vaccine. You didn't want public officials dying all over the place. It's not good optics. And public officials are in the public all the time.
Right, they're shaking hands, they're kissing babies.
Doing all that kind of stuff. So you wanted to test them. And I think this is kind of a holdover, like we're still just kind of doing it because it's what we've done. You see that a lot in politics, as this idea of this is just something that we used to do. It's not really relevant anymore, but we still just kind of do it.
Is it mostly doing it to protect the unvaccinated?
No, it's not doing it to
Well, why would you need to be tested? Like if you're all vaxxed, if I come up with Rona, if you're all vaxxed, why does it matter?
Yeah, I mean that's
what we're worried about the unvaccinated is like, well, that's their problem. They're the ones who didn't get the vaccine.
It's on you. You need to make smart decisions, but you also need to know the risk that you're taking. And if you contract coronavirus as an unvaccinated person, that's not on the person that gave it to you anymore.
I never saw anybody get all mad at people for not taking the flu vaccine.
Oh, I've seen that. 100%. I've seen people get mad at me for not taking the flu vaccine, partially because I know a lot of people that work in healthcare. And I've seen a lot of people get mad at me for getting the flu vaccine, partially because I know a lot of people in the anti-vax crowd. So the vaccines are always a very tumultuous thing for me.
I never saw that. So from my eyes, my truth says it doesn't exist.
Especially people that work in pediatric healthcare will definitely get mad at you for not getting the flu vaccine.
Well.
Because here's the thing, coronavirus, and I'm going to say this, right, for those of you who are wanting masks in schools, coronavirus will not get your kid. The likelihood that the coronavirus is going to kill your child is very low.
Well, I saw a New York Times article about the whole plastic shield things. Yeah, that was crap too.
Yeah, didn't work. but the flu will absolutely get your kid. Like the mortality rates for the flu, the thing is like the flu is almost the reverse of coronavirus.
Right, it kills kids.
Yeah, older people that get the flu are usually fine. Kids that get the flu could be in serious danger. As opposed to the reverse, which is coronavirus. If a kid gets it, probably nothing. If an older person gets it, they're probably in danger. So yeah, pediatric people will always harp on you to get the flu vaccine.
I just want to talk to them then,
because their beds are usually full during flu season for kids that are suffering. So
speaking of seasons, though, this same Texas Tribune article says daily cases and hospitalizations reaching levels not seen since last wave in winter. So you're saying we've seen this before? You saying that we've been through this before?
Yep.
Almost like it's
a seasonal thing.
Well, part of life now.
Yeah. And
oh no, this is happening just like it happened in the past, and nothing really happened out of it. But don't worry about it.
I'm sorry, Texas Tribune, but citation needed on the hospitalizations, right?
Because you don't trust them from last week.
I don't trust them. I mean, I don't trust that. Now, the case rates might be going up. That's fine. I know that this is bad, but here's the deal: I don't care about.
I don't see deaths.
I don't care about case races. I care about hospital beds. And I care about people dying.
And the thing is, like, we're seeing increasing, and all these people's like, whoa, when did they go in? All right, well, that week, that's what that count is. If they're still in there, it's like, okay, well, we need to have a separate section of, like, still continuing to be in bed, still continuing to be hospitalizations. Like, okay, you're probably going to wane off after a week.
Well, they have a 7-day rolling average. And I think the last time I checked the CDC for the state of Texas, the 7-day rolling average was under 7,000. Under 7,000 people, something like that, for hospitalizations. And it was, no, I'm sorry. It was like under 7,000 for the whole country. No, that's not true.
I don't know.
But it was under 7,000 for the state of Texas. And in a state with, over 30 million people, 7,000 people being hospitalized. I'm sorry, you can't convince me that that's overloading our hospital systems.
They would disagree with you.
Yeah, I'm sure that they would, but facts don't bear that out.
Yeah.
But is Greg Abbott going to change his mind about masks in schools? No, he's not going to change his mind. Why would he change his mind? There's still no data to indicate that masks in schools are a good idea. You're not going to protect kids. You're not going to protect teachers. Teachers should get vaccinated, right? Teachers should not rely on masks, which, by the way, are far less effective than the vaccine. They shouldn't rely on masks. If they are concerned, they should get vaccinated. That's the end of it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say.
No, the whole thing is like, well, what if I get it from the kid? Well, why are you not vaccinated? Why are you worried about stop. Yeah. If you're super duper worried about it, then get the vaccine. And if you're not, then don't worry about it.
This is something that I've seen that is just...
Teachers been getting sick from kids all the time, and all of a sudden now you're worried about it?
It drives me a little cuckoo because it's a theme that kind of runs when I have discussions about education in general. Not even just talking about education as it pertains to coronavirus. But education is about the students. It's about the children. It's not about the teachers. So many things that I see when it comes to education are we need to protect our teachers. We need to help our teachers. We need to do this because it's good for the teachers. And a lot of times those things are at the expense of the students, right? We need to make sure that we can't go to, that we don't go to a school choice method because school choice method would affect teachers' pay. But there's a lot of evidence that school choice would actually really help a lot of students who are suffering right now. So who is this really about? And I think, all of this is to say, we're talking about Greg Abbott with coronavirus in schools. I think that the mask mandates for kids are wanting to save the teachers at the expense of the students. Yep. I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, it's the same kind of argument. I mean, granted, I'm doing a whole thread here. It was the same argument you heard back in the 70s and the 60s. Of you, Mr. Politician, are making decisions about my son that's going to go into their country, and your son is not even going to go. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these teacher unions that luckily Texas do not have, and all these politicians are making decisions for kids without having kids that will actually have to abide by these rules. And so it's like, right, so you're making recommendations for my kids, but you yourself won't put your kid in an actual public school or put your kid with a mask on. Once the cameras turn off, then take them right off. Yeah. Because that's the thing that you've seen. I'm reading a book right now, Charter Schools and Their Enemies by Thomas Sowell. And it kind of weighs the importance of a lot of these public school teachers don't have their own kids in public school.
Yeah.
Why? Because we don't trust it. Well, you're obviously showing that you don't trust it either. Yeah. So you're putting in private kids. Gavin Newsom himself has put his kids in private schools. Mm-hmm. At Whitmer, private school. It's just like, okay. Yeah. Even that, I can't get into that.
The other thing is actions speak louder. Actions speak louder than words on this. And if you are really that concerned about teachers getting coronavirus or students getting coronavirus, then go back to remote learning. Why aren't we? Why
are bars still open?
If it's really that dangerous, if it's really that big of a deal, why aren't we going back to remote learning?
We need to kids didn't learn.
Yeah, because remote learning doesn't work, and it was ridiculous.
Almost like you balance the pros and cons there. Yeah. But anyways, about Abbott, okay, Democrats use this as an opportunity to dunk on him, as we said, because they'll say, "Oh, well wishes," because you're stupid about the mask mandates. Mm-hmm. One of them being Julian Castro, former presidential candidate, if anyone remembers that long ago.
Yeah, he was the medical or reproductive justice. That was Julian Castro.
Yeah. Transgender women
are men. Okay. Yeah, whatever.
Anyways, he said on his Twitter, Governor Abbott has put his own Republican primary politics before public health since day one. ... I hope he recovers quickly. I also hope he will act more responsibly on behalf of Texas children and families. It's like, okay.
Okay, Julian.
Okay.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
I'm over. I'm so over that guy.
Well, State Rep Raphael Anchia from Dallas said on Twitter that he was praying for Abbott's diagnosis ... will cause him to rescind the order stopping schools from requiring masks. Wow. Who? You always say GOP's politicizing.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah. You guys.
These are head reps in Texas.
And what I will say is that, and I mean, I can't say this because I'm a politician, and when you get in, or I'm not a politician, sorry. And when you get into the politician world, you have all sorts of people who basically are experts in sales and marketing that are telling you this is what you need to say, this is what you need to say, this is where you need to be on message, this is where you're not, and so you have to kind of balance the list of the advisors. But when it comes to something like this, when it's concerning one of your opponent's health, just say praying for a speedy recovery and then move on.
Yeah.
Right? There's other times to do this.
Even Phelan did that whenever the Democrats that decided to run away from Texas, he said, I heard some of y'all got Rona.
Yeah.
Prayers and well wishes for him. He didn't dunk on him. Yeah. He just said that. I'm like, I'm kind of going, we probably should have dunked on him. Yeah. But whatever.
There's other places to dunk. When it's concerning, when somebody's not healthy or when somebody has died, it's not the place to do it. But we got to move on. We got to talk about the exciting stuff, guys. Let's start talking about,
It's back, baby.
We have quorum. We're going to finally do the work of the people in the house of the people.
You're going to do the work.
Don't say that. I hate that phrase.
According to Politico, the state house have to have 100 representatives to meet quorum, as we've said prior.
Yep.
However, Thursday morning, Rep. Leo Pacheco, I never can say it.
Pacheco.
Whatever.
His name is Leo Pacheco.
Leo Pachano. Resignation became effective, lowering the number to 99. So we only needed 99, no longer 100.
So how does that work? Is his seat considered vacant?
Yep.
And so you now have a vacant seat, so it lowers the number to affect quorum?
Correct. Cool. That seat basically doesn't count until an election happens. So wonderful. What had happened was Democratic state reps Garnet Coleman, Ana Hernandez, Armando Wally, who all represent Houston, released a joint statement an hour after start time that explained their reasons that they went back to the Congress.
What was their reason?
Our efforts were successful and served as the primary catalyst to push Congress to take action on federal voter protection legislation. Now we continue to fight on the House floor.
What was the first part of that statement?
Their efforts were successful and served as the primary catalyst.
Our efforts were successful.
What was that effort?
The effort to pass voter protection legislation at the national level, basically pass H.R. 1.
I thought their effort was to get more Twitter followings.
Those efforts were successful?
Yeah.
That's what you were doing?
Yeah.
That didn't happen. You didn't get H.R. 1. You didn't get national voter protection.
Well, in their eyes, it got voted on and passed. It doesn't matter if reality doesn't reflect that.
No, you can't just say that you were successful and we're coming back because we were successful. Now, I know what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to soften the blow. Take your L, Democrats. You lost this one. I'm sorry, but you knew you were going to lose when you took off. We all knew you were going to lose. It was just a show. Just come back. Don't say anything. Just come back and do your job. You don't need to be talking about, oh, we were successful. No, you weren't. You weren't successful. You didn't get your legislation passed. You took a Hail Mary. You took your shot. You lost.
Yeah,
all right?
Lost bad.
You lost real bad. Now just come back and do your work. All right.
Coleman, by the way, who did not go to D.C., if people didn't know, because he had surgical procedure, which requires him right now to be in a wheelchair. Yeah. He still says he supports his colleagues that did leave the state. However, according to the Dallas Morning News on Wednesday, he regretted his role in aiding the fracture in the lower chamber during the first special session. So he's kind of remorseful, but not really.
It seems like he is not super in favor of all of this. And I don't know. I don't know what district he represents. Maybe he's in a purple district.
It's Houston.
But Houston's got there's a lot of districts in Houston.
You can't really. It's Houston.
There's a lot. I mean,
it's Houston.
Crenshaw's from Houston. Right? Crenshaw represents Houston.
Nationally.
Yeah.
In a statewide, come on.
Okay.
It's going to be blue.
But maybe there's some remorse there. Maybe he's got a brain in that.
Maybe he got bored. I mean, surgical procedure laid you at home all day. You're like, all right, I got to do something.
I think there's a level of boredom here, and we talked about this when they left. We said eventually people are going to stop talking about you, and in order to, you're just going to have to come back.
All those interviews that people were like, look. Yeah, now it's just them having to report on themselves. Like, yeah, because no one's paying attention to you.
Theory time.
Theory
time. I think that that this was a concerted effort by the Democratic Party. I do not think that this was just three people breaking off from the group. Right? I think that the Democrats wanted to send these people back, and they wanted to resume quorum at this time. I think they wanted.
And these are the lackeys they sent?
Yes. I think they wanted these headlines at this time because of the Afghanistan debacle.
I don't know about that.
Yes, because I think that right now, being associated with D.C. and that administration, or with this Congress, is
because their D, your D is going to screw you over.
Not even the Democratic thing. It's the fact that you're in D.C. Right? You vacated Texas to go to D.C., where currently it's very clear that people are not doing their job effectively. It's very clear that hitching your wagon to that horse is not a good idea. So now is the time to say, hey, Democrats came back. We got quorum now. We're doing our thing.
We care.
Yeah, we care now. We'll
get to that.
Please
we'll
don't
get to that, how much they
associate us with
care.
that. Yeah.
We'll get to that.
But I think that that's the problem. I think that they're doing this. I don't think it's a coincidence that this is happening, and it's coinciding with the absolute mess that is Afghanistan. That's a national topic, and we might put the perspective on it at some point later on. But it's
horrible. I can tell you that it is horrible.
It is an absolute
videos.
mess.
You've seen them. It's hard to watch. It's a horrible situation.
I think the Texas Democrats are trying to bail. I think they're trying to get out while the getting's good.
Well, several Democrats from that fled D.C. tweeted against their 3 colleagues for showing up. So, and we'll get to the tweets part and their little response later. But right now, I'm just focused on Democrat tears just taste so good. It's just, you're so mad. We love it. It's hilarious.
They won't take their L, though.
Yeah, well, this is according to Texas Tribune. 3 members arrived with Wally, as I said, pushing a wheelchair for Coleman because he had recent surgery. Michelle Beckley rears her head again, her blue-haired head, saying, "This is how Texas Democrats lose elections." That was her response to this whole debacle. I think you staying is what's going to lose your election.
Wow, yeah.
But we'll get into that later.
Beckley, you're going to lose. It's not going to be these people's fault.
Yeah. The party arguing for election integrity just established quorum by voting members present who were on the floor. Also said by another Democrat. But
so what are they saying?
They were saying, well, the numbers aren't right, but we're also mad they showed up.
Yeah.
So if the numbers aren't right, why does it matter?
They're saying they lied. Did they lie? Did Republicans lie?
No, they had quorum.
Okay, so they had quorum.
There's some report out there is like, well, they were counting some members present that weren't actually present. It's like, okay, no, they weren't.
Okay. I feel like it would be a bigger story if it actually happened. Yeah. Right. If they were
no, because Republicans just changing the rules. That's their whole defer back to. It's like they of course you don't know. They're changing the rules so you don't know.
You didn't change the rules. If you have a vacant seat, you have a vacant seat. That's been the rule forever. That's not changing the rules.
But we've never used it before because we've never been vacant before.
Yeah. Just haven't been a vacant seat before.
I mean, come on.
Good gracious. Anyway.
All right. But here's the fun part. Their joint statement. This is according to KVUE, which is an ABC affiliate for Texas. The joint statement from the 30 House Democrats reads, and I'm not going to read all of it because it's a bunch of gobbledygook BS. But they say, we broke quorum for 2 reasons. First, to stop an anti-voter bill from passing our chamber. And second, to buy time for Congress to act to defend democracy itself. We are disappointed that a few Democrats chose to return to the floor. We feel betrayed and heartbroken, but our resolve is strong, and this fight is not over. Yeah, it is. With the questionable quorum, Republicans are now fully enabled and empowered to enact virtually all of Abbott's directives, including many dangerous pieces of legislation that will fundamentally hurt the lives of Texans, according to you. We know what we are dealing with. Republicans will lie about the number of legislators present at the Capitol to establish quorum, keep Texans in the dark, and bend the rules to get their way. Millions of Texans will be deeply harmed by the policy that will pass in the next 17 days. So we're back to, you're mad at them for coming, you're mad at them for leaving, but also Republicans, you don't have quorum anyways. Then why are you mad at them for leaving?
They left. Because we had some people that didn't leave with you, and we had some people that have come back since then.
Yep.
Not to make quorum, right?
Yep.
But you never commented about those people. There were no statements about them. So if we don't have quorum, why are you mad?
Why are you mad, bro?
That's. But have we? Here's the thing, though. We haven't actually gotten anything done at this point. The voter bill has gone to committee.
Yep. Committees can start again, basically.
Yeah. And we're moving the process forward, but nothing's passed the House thus far.
Nope, they actually gavelled in, and for certain things like, and we'll return to this on business on Monday. You just got in quorum. Feeling. What you doing, bro?
Yeah, get it done. We're going to vote on this now.
But the call of the House has actually ended. That was what's feeling. By the way, Will Metcalf put that in there. Just going to throw that out there again. Feeling stopped relation. It. Yeah, no, maybe. I don't know. Phelan stopped us, said no more call the House because we have quorum, basically letting the Democrats that haven't returned off the hook. What will happen after that? I think it'll mostly have to be back in the voter ballot. We really won't do much here because Greg Abbott still didn't do crap once it actually was in. I think we could have been a lot harsher. We could have started trying those lines like, do we have jurisdiction? Do we not? You know what? Screw it. Let's try see what happens.
I cannot wait.
But just do something.
I cannot wait for 2022. I think if you stayed, you're going to suffer.
Well, there's a candidate that's actually trying to primary Abbott for the governor election. If those didn't know, it's happening in 2022.
Yep.
Huffines is the guy's name. He's basically just railing on Twitter going, you're not doing enough. Why are you not actually enforcing these laws? Come on, Abbott, get something done. Making fun of him for some of the wall that he put up, which was just a little bit of a fence.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I get your point there.
Yeah.
But he's an interesting guy. Alan West and other guys kind of rallying about it. However, Alan West just kind of got crapped on because for one big event he did, he wore a cowboy hat. And everybody's going, you've never once worn a cowboy hat. At all.
Alan West. And
and all of a sudden now you're wearing the cowboy hat like, I'm Texan.
I love Alan West. I think Alan West is great, right? He actually...
Should he be governor? Oh.
Yeah, he actually wrote a book about why we need to keep Texas red, right? And how we could lose everything if we don't. And it's a great book. He's, I've seen him on a lot of speaking events. He's a great guy. I don't know if primarying Greg Abbott right now is the best move. I think that we have.
I think Beto's trying to run against him for the Democratic ticket.
Oh yeah,
that's going nowhere.
Beto's going to run against him, and he's going to be, he's going to be crying in his Whataburger like he was before.
Go eat some more New Mexico dirt.
Yeah, but that effort I don't think is going to go anywhere. But the idea of primarying Greg Abbott, I think you're causing a fracture in the in the conservative side of Texas governance. And I think right now Abbott is doing enough to where it's necessary to keep him.
I don't know. There's some that said he could have done a lot more, and all of a sudden he's just reacting and trying to get his base ginned up again.
He could have done a lot more, but he didn't do nothing, right? And again, I'm tired of, and I love Ron DeSantis. I think he's a great governor. I think he's going to make a great candidate because we all know he's running in 2024.
Maybe.
But no, he's definitely running in 2024. But I'm tired of Texans getting mad at Greg Abbott for basically not being Ron DeSantis. We live in a much bigger state. We live in a state.
Why aren't you someone that's different than you?
Yeah.
Because I'm not them.
Yeah, we live in a state that has. We're not as hegemonic, I guess the word is right. We're not as strongly red. We're trending more purple than Florida is right now. So Abbott has to have considerations that DeSantis doesn't necessarily have. There's a lot more that's going on than Abbott just didn't do enough. The point is that Abbott has been a force moving forward the correct agenda on things like COVID, on things like the border. Has he not done enough? Has he not done enough quickly enough? Probably not.
Maybe.
But I don't think that issue is worth fracturing the Republican Party because you're trying to primary Greg Abbott. I think you could end up doing more harm than good when it comes to that.
I just thought of a side note. Sorry, Nick. I know you don't like these, but we're going to go on this rabbit trail because I have the ability.
Rock and roll.
If DeSantis runs in 2024, if he runs, because we don't know.
He's running.
If he wins, that governorship is vacant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a certain person that currently resides at Mar-a-Lago that lives in Florida. And he just goes, we're going to make Florida great again. We're going to be the best.
That would be tremendous.
He just goes like, all right, plan is DeSantis, you win this. I replace you here. Fair?
Governor.
That's right, Mr. President.
I don't think that would ever happen.
No. But it's fun to think about.
It's fun to think about. That would be super
There's a reason I chose to live at Mar-a-Lago. It's so I can determine residency to run for the governorship.
Yeah. Because I think Donald Trump is going to run again.
Maybe.
And I tend to have this theory, and again, we're on this rabbit trail, so might as well keep going.
Woo!
With the idea of Donald Trump running again, guys, please don't do this. Please don't do this.
What?
A couple of things. One, Donald Trump is going to you're going to put Donald Trump in, and you're going to get just as big of a reaction from the left again.
Yeah.
They're gonna fix an election again. We're gonna put in a crazy presidential candidate from the left again. I don't want to continue this cycle. 2, Donald Trump will turn 80 in the White House.
Yeah.
Can we not look at what's happening right now and just all agree that we're not putting octogenarians in the White House?
Yeah.
I
remember the first time he got elected. Left was all up in arms, going, "The old man like this, he can't do this, he can't do that." Notice those arguments disappeared once Biden got on the stage.
That is true.
But what's funny, I remember seeing a leftist friend of mine saying, "He's 70 years old. He can't keep this up." This is right when he first got elected, so of course everybody was raw mad at him.
Yeah.
For no reason yet. But they were so mad at him. He's like, "How dare he be in there? He can't handle this. His age is going to influence him." And I literally commented to the guy going, "Hillary Clinton's 69.
Yeah.
So she's going to be 70. So being 70 is your argument." He's like, "Well, it's different." Okay. It's always different when it's your side.
And I don't want the Republicans to do that either.
Yeah.
They say, "Well, Donald Trump has a lot of energy." He did. I mean,
maybe we should get rid of old white men. I mean, we've had enough old white men in the White House.
He did have a lot of energy. That rapidly declines when you're that age, right? Every year matters.
I don't know. Dude he eats nothing but junk, yet look at him.
When you're that age, right? When you get to that escalated, elevated age, right? Each age or each year counts for more.
Yeah.
Right? And so I don't think it's a good idea to put 75, 80-year-olds in the White House. Let's go with, there's plenty of other candidates.
Nick, I'm just going to go against you because I've already chosen my ballot, as we had a few episodes ago.
Yeah,
Trump has to win. Trump and Carlson.
Yep. That being said, we will talk about that a little bit later on. We still have yet to do the Democrat side of things. Well, we should do that sometime.
We're not sure
soon.
if he's going to stay in there.
But until then, friends, things are looking up. It's still dark outside, but as always here in Texas, the stars at night
are big and bright.
And we'll see you next week.